welcome or welcome back to a Yin Yoga podcast. If you're new around here, this might not be the episode to start with. So you may want to just pause this and go back in time, because this one is kind of going to be a little bit more of a housekeeping and summary, etc., announcements, that kind of episode. So you might just want to pause this and go back in time if you're new around here. But for those of you that are here every week, this is for you. I wanted to first just remind you that although I have the soul of a mermaid, I also have the mouth of a sailor. So there is a potential for swearing to possibly happen. So just keep that in mind. If you have small people around, grab some headphones in case of colorful language. Can't promise there will be some, but I also can't promise there won't be. All right, my friends, before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to share a little bit of podcast love that I received. Now, this one is a username of all numbers. So hopefully when you're listening, you'll know who you are. It's 11140075175. But they signed off with the letter JX. So I don't know who this is, but JX says, great podcast. Your no nonsense, straightforward approach is so refreshing in the Yogaverse. I am a yoga teacher and encouraging all others to listen. I started in the middle and went backwards and forwards, and now I'm up to date and looking forward to the next one. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. And yeah, sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes it's we listen to one episode and then we decide that's it. I'm going all the way back to the beginning, and we start at the beginning. And sometimes it's kind of like a buffet. We sample a little bit of everything. I know I'm also a podcast fanatic, listening as well as having one. And so I know that sometimes we just binge. I tend to listen to one episode, and if I really like it, I tend to go all the way back to the beginning. Just because I think mostly just because I'm afraid I'll lose track of where I am and what I've listened to. All right, so there's that. The other thing I wanted to mention for those of you that have been interested in checking out my Yin training, if you're listening to this live, registration is open for the fall 2025 round of my 100-hour Therapeutic Yin Yoga teacher training program. And if you have been listening and you've been enjoying the podcast and you're like, gee, if there's this much in the podcast, what would the course be like? Well, I would love to have you join us. If it feels like a good fit for you, please feel free to come and join. The link is always in the show notes. And to the link that says get on the wait list, if you click that, it takes you right to the main page for the training. And then on the bottom, you can add yourself to the wait list. You can also right now, because it's live, you could sign up live just by clicking the button. If you're listening to this in the future and there is no button there to sign up, then just join the wait list at the bottom of the page or the top of the page. And then you'll be one of the first to know when registration opens up. But I just want to do a brief overview of what is in this training of mine for those of you that have been interested. First of all, I should say, this training is designed for people that are 200-hour or more certified. Some teachers come to my program with no prior Yin training, and some come with a bunch of prior Yin training. I think in my last group, one of the gals said she had something like 7 other previous Yin trainings and still managed to get a lot out of my training, which is amazing. 7, that's a lot. So, my friends, whether you're brand new to Yin, you want a good solid foundation, or whether you've taken shorter trainings but felt like there was some holes, or you're just madly in love with Yin and you always want to learn more, here's just a very brief overview of my training. It's all live on Zoom, and you get access to the recordings for a year. So it's not pre-recorded. We go through it live together as a group, and then you get the recording. So if you have to miss a week or something like that, you get the recording. It's spread out over a season. And the reason that I spread it out over a season versus doing it in intensive form is because actually our minds don't work in an intensive way. We like to think we want all our information crammed in real quick, but actually we don't retain it that way. And so spreading it out over a season, it's either 1 or 2 weekends a month, depending on the month, allows us time in between to look at our notes, to practice, to go through the manual, to come up with questions, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas oftentimes in these more intensive trainings, you're getting so much kind of thrown at you that you aren't even able to process it enough to know if you have questions, let alone ask the questions. So it is spread out over a season. At the time of this recording, I do it twice a year, fall and spring. It may stick that way. We don't know, but that's what it is now. And right now, if you're listening to this live, the fall version is ready for registration. It has been opened up to people not on the wait list. All right. So here is a little bit about what you're going to get. So it's a 100-hour training. So 72 of those hours will be live with me. And then there's 28 additional hours of watching videos, listening to audio, and then 3 written assignments. It's all on Zoom and they're recorded. And you have access to the recordings for a year, which is great because then you can go back and basically retake the training, because we're only going to absorb, of course, so much information at once. Even if it's spread out over a season, we're not going to catch everything. So this allows you to go over it again for up to a year. In this training, you're going to learn all about Yin Yoga. You'll have a broader understanding of Yin Yoga and how to create effective class plans and themes, how to effectively teach Yin Yoga in an accessible way to a wide range of students. And we explore Yin deeply, including the relevant anatomy, philosophy, 5 elements in Chinese medicine, the meridians and sinew channels, and the energetics of the practice. Topics covered: a brief history of Yin Yoga, Yin Yang theory, anatomy and how to modify different poses for different bodies, what makes a pose yin, the Yin Yoga postural archetypes and the many, many, many variations, what is the difference between yin and restorative, who shouldn't practice yin. You'll learn about hypermobility in Yin Yoga and the nervous system, Yin Yoga and trauma, how to create a whole body yin class, how to seamlessly create a yin yang class, so movement and stillness combined, the relationship between fascia and the channels or the meridians, the anatomy, location, and function of the 6 yin and 6 yang primary channels, the organs associated with each channel, the mental and emotional qualities of each channel, Taoist 5-element philosophy, which includes seasonal influences, individual constitution, roles and functions of qi, the role of jing or essence, the spirit or soul of each organ, the mind in Yin Yoga. And you're also going to get 90-minute classes with me for the whole time you're in the training. So every time that we meet, for each weekend, for each time, you're going to have a 90-minute class. So each weekend, there's like one Friday, Saturday, Sunday that goes on. And you also have the option to join one of my weekly public classes as well for the duration of your training. So you get lots and lots of practice time. So 72 hours of live study with me and about 28 hours of distance learning in the combination of video, audio, home practice, and 3 written assignments. Here is what makes this training special, in my humble opinion. This is very intentional creation on my part. Small groups so that you can get your questions answered. Traditional Chinese medicine. Unlike many Yin teachers, I studied Chinese medicine for about 3 years. As a certified yoga therapist, I will teach you how to make Yin Yoga therapeutic, accessible, and nervous system based and trauma informed. Community. You'll have access to a private Facebook community that's only for the teachers that are in the training or past graduates of the training. You're also going to get a manual, a PDF of the manual, access to the recordings for a year, as I mentioned, the private Facebook group. Upon graduation, you will get 10 done for you Yin sequences. There's actually more than that now because we have a whole bank of sequences, yoga music playlists. You'll have access to my on-demand video library for the duration of the training, the bank of poetry that I use in class, and the bank of asana class sequences. So there you go. And again, you have to be at least a 200-hour teacher already to attend. And if this sounds interesting to you, there is a link always in the show notes that says get on the wait list. So please feel free to check that out. Okay, enough of advertising time. So please know if you're interested, that is registering right now. If you're listening live, if it's not live, when you listen to this, just click the link and you can get on the wait list so that you will find out right away. when it is live. I wanted to do a brief overview. This is going to be kind of like a season roundup before we take a summer break. And I know that sometimes having a summer break feels kind of like, oh no, but I definitely do need a summer break. I need one, for one, to get content banked. So I'll still be recording episodes over summer, but they'll be getting ready in advance. And to take a bit of a rest, because as I've mentioned it before, I absolutely adore doing this podcast, but it is also a boatload of work. So to be able to have a little bit more space to create those episodes in a leisurely, restful way. And also to just rest in general, which, as yoga teachers, we're always telling people that they should rest more, they should rest more, they should rest more. So I am going to listen to my own medicine on that. But I wanted to share with you what we've been up to in season 5. When I first started the podcast, I didn't have this idea of doing it in seasons and taking breaks, but it became very clear very quickly by about season 2 that this was the only way that this would have any longevity, is if I did seasons and took breaks. So I typically take a break in December over the holidays. I take summer off and then a very brief one in the spring, so that the show is seasonal. So what we're just finishing at the time of this recording is season 5. And here are some of the episodes that we went over in season 5. Episode 1 was Root to Rise, Yin Yoga, Spring, and the Wood Element. Episode 2 was Speaking from Stillness, Quotes, Poems, and Stories in Yin Yoga. Episode 3 was Yin Yoga and the Middle Way. That was an interview with Norman Blair. Episode 4 was called Pigeon or Swan, Unpacking Yin Yoga Pose Names. Episode 5 was Why Yin Yoga Teachers Need a Home Practice. Episode 6 is When a Student Walks Out of Your Yin Class. What do we do with that? Episode 7 was Yin Yoga is Not Entertainment. Episode 8, When Students Fall Asleep in Yin Yoga. What do we do when students fall asleep? Episode 9 was a book review and the complete guide to Yin Yoga by Bernie Clark. Episode 10 was called Humility and Integrity. Are you ready to train teachers? And that was with the lovely Grace Tempany. That was a little fireside chat that the two of us had. Episode 11 is 10 mistakes that Yin Yoga teachers make. 10 of the common mistakes. There's probably more. Episode 12, Mentorship Matters with Dr. Karina Smith. That's another fireside chat. Her and I, two colleagues, just as if we're sitting and having a tea, chatting. You'll get to hear about that. Mentorship Matters with Dr. Karina Smith. And then this one, episode 13, Lucky 13, the seasonal wrap up for summer. Now, last summer, before the summer break, I actually did a seasonal overview of summer and the 5 elements, view of summer, Chinese medicine theory on summer. So I'm not going to do all of that again, simply because there already is an episode with all of that. I will link it in the episode notes for you so that you could check that out. There's also a practice that goes along with that. So I'll link that up for you in the episode notes. And also, dear listener, please know that in the show notes, there is a document. It's just like a Google Doc. It says, see all episodes at a glance. And I list every single episode from season 1 up until now in that Google Doc. So if you're ever wanting to binge and you want to start at the beginning and you don't want to be like scroll, see more, see more through your podcast app, you can always click that document and then you can start right on my website with episode 1. You could see the evolution of the podcast by checking that document out. So please know that that is there for you. So I will include a link to the summer episode, and also it's always there, all episodes at a glance. So for those of you who need some summer listening, that is there for you. And I know some of you are like, but I've already listened to all of them. Some people have listened to them more than once. So feel free to go through. And if there's an episode where you're like, oh, I did listen to that, but actually, let's listen to that one again. Let's see what I missed. There's plenty there for the summer. The other thing about podcasts in the summer is, just from a algorithm standpoint, podcast listenership goes down a lot in the summer, which isn't something that I knew. So it makes sense for me that summertime is the time to take the longest break. So we will be off for the summer. We will be back in September. And I don't know exactly what date yet because I haven't counted them all out, but please know we'll be back in September. Okay. I think that's enough of announcements and a seasonal wrap up. But I also did want to share a poem with you that I think sums up this summer break. Some of you may know that the season of summer is connected to the element of fire in the 5 elements in Taoist thought. And this is a little poem about that. And especially, this is a good one for those of you that are really extroverted and love to go to all the festivals and all the concerts and all the things. This one is for you. It's called Fire, and it is by Judy Brown. What makes a fire burn is space between the logs, a breathing space. Too much of a good thing, too many logs packed in too tight, can douse the flames almost as surely as a pail of water would. So building fires requires attention to the spaces in between as much as it does to the wood. When we are able to build open spaces in the same way we have learned to pile logs, then we can come to see how it is fuel. And it's the absence and the fuel together that make the fire possible. We only need to lay a log lightly from time to time. A fire grows simply because the space is there, with openings in which the flame knows just how it wants to burn and can find its way. And that again is by Judy Brown. So my friends, I hope you take some time and space this summer. As I mentioned, my teacher training is currently open for registration. If you're listening live, there's a link in the show notes. It says get on the wait list. Click that. You can sign up or get on the wait list, either one. I'm also doing some summer Zoom classes. So if you're wanting to join me for summer yoga, I run a Thursday evening and a Sunday morning Zoom class. So you can join from wherever you are in the world. The link to those is also in the episode notes. I'd love to meet you. For those of you that are regular listeners, want to come and practice with me, I would love that. So my friends, please take some time to enjoy your summer, but also to rest. Don't be so busy doing all the things that you don't take any space for rest and for recuperation. And I will talk to you again in the fall. Until we meet again, bye for now.